Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, boys and girls, depending on the time of the day that you are working on math with me today. So, today we are getting ready to start math lesson 3 in our second module of math this year. So, the pink problem set that you should have in front of you should look like this. Lesson 3 problem set. And for our lesson today, if we look at our lesson objective, we're going to continue to count by fives and ones today on a number line as a strategy to tell time to the nearest 5 minutes on the clock. And also, if we look down here, we can tell time to the nearest minute. So that's what we're adding in today. So you want to continue to look around you in your, if you're in the classroom or when you're at home, if you're in a store, wherever you are, to try to find a clock that has the clock hands, not the digital clock, because we know the clocks that just automatically tell us the time are around us everywhere. So we want to find the clocks that look like this that we can look at and we can practice telling the time. I wrote up here a little trick for us. So if you remember, if we look at the words hour and minute, we notice that hour is the shorter word and minute is the longer word. So since hour is a shorter word, it's a good trick to help us to remind us that hour is the shorter hand on the clock. Minute is a longer word, it's longer than hour, so the minute hand is longer than the hour hand. Okay, so that's a common mistake with third graders, is that we get the hands of the clocks mixed up. So if we remember that the hour is the short word, shorthand, minute, longer word, longhand, that can be very helpful to us. Okay. Excuse me. So I want to do a little practice today. So if I look at a clock, I have a little miniature clock here. What time does that clock say right there? My hour hand is on the 3 and my minute hand is on the 12. So that would be 3 o'clock, right? And then what if I do this? What if I move my minute hand right to the 1? What time would that be? That would be 3:05, right? If I move it one past the 1, so if you can see it, it's on that 1 tick mark right past the 1. So that would be 1 past the 3:05, which would make it 3:06, right? So when we're telling time with a clock like this, anytime, so for example, if I have it right here at 3:10, and then let's say I'm going to move it 2 little tick marks past there. Okay, so if I look here, I would count to the nearest 5 minutes, and then I would count on by ones after that. So here I know that it's 3 o'clock, right? Because my hour hand is on the 3. So this would be 0, and this would be 5, 10. And here I'm going to start to count by ones on those tick marks. So I'm at 10, 11, 12. So the time there would be 3, can you see that? 3:12, because it's 2 minutes past that 10 mark. Okay, let's do this. So we know that in every one of these little parts here, these are 5-minute intervals, right? We already practiced that before. So these are 5-minute intervals. So we would count by fives. And then again, once we hit that last mark until it hits the next 5, we're going to count by ones till we get there. So if I look at this one, I'm trying to get it so there's not a glare. Here's my 6. It's not quite on the 7 yet. It's 1 before the 7. So what we would do is we would count by fives until we get to that 6. And then once we hit that 6, we would count by ones because it's not quite to the 7 yet. So again, our hour is still 3. And as we notice, the further that we get past, or the further that the closer that we get to the next hour, the further the hour hand moves away from the hour that it is. But it's not 4 yet, right? All right, so count with me. We're going to count by fives till we get to the 6. Here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I can't go 35, so I'm at 30 because I'm not on the 7. So now I'm going to start counting by ones. I'm at 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So the time there would be 3:34. Okay. If I change, I'm going to go to a whole new hour. Let's try that. Okay, what hour are we at now? So again, the hour hand is my shorter hand. So the hour hand would be 6, right? And so I'm going to put that there to get that ready. So it's 6 something, right? And if I look, I'm between the 4 and the 5. So I'm going to count by 5s until I get to the 4. And once I hit that 4, then I'm going to start counting by 1. So you count with me. So this would be 0. So you can say 0, or you can just start if you know that the 1 is going to be 5. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20. And now I'm going to count by 1s, right? So I'm at 20, 21, 22. And that's where we are right there. So it would be 6, 22. So that is what we're going to practice today. Our I can statement is we're telling time to the nearest minute. Okay, so if you need to pause and grab your problem set, if you don't have it, and put your name and date on it, and let's get ready to roll. All right, so will you read number 1 with me? Put your finger, your pencil on plot a point, and read with me, please. Here we go. Plot a point on the number line for the time shown on the clocks below. Then draw a line to match the clocks on the points. To the points. Okay, so they did one for us. So this says 7:28. Our number line starts at 7 o'clock and it ends at 8 o'clock. So 28, here is, our intervals are 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So they're counting by 10s. Can we add our 5s in there? That'll make it easier for us. So we're at 0. The 5 would be at this longer point right between the 0 and the 10. So there's 5, 10, 15 is that next longer line in there, 20. This next long line would be 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So for 7:28, again, my starting time is 7, so that works there. Here's 7:25, and this would be 26, 27, 28. So that's why that works there. Okay. Let's look at these clocks. So again, just like yesterday, the times on here, the hands are horrible. So let's try to fill them in a little bit. So this is just after the 7, and you can see it a little bit, but let's make it darker because telling time can be tricky enough when we're first getting used to it without having to deal with hands that we can't even see. All right, so there's that one. And then this one is just before the 8, and this one is just on the 11. And this one, they're really close. So the hour hand is right there. And then the minute hand is just after the 8. These are horrible. But it's okay. We'll make the best use of it, right? Okay. So if you need to pause it to get that done, you can. And if we look at the first clock, so our hour hand is the shorthand. So put your finger or your pencil on the hour hand here, right? And it's between the 7 and 8. So that would make it what hour? 7, right? So 7 colon. And then my minute hand, if we look, so it's really hard to see. So if this is the 3 and this is the 4, there's going to be 4 tick marks in between there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this would be 7. And we're going to start to count at the 1. Okay. And boys and girls, especially because these hands on the clock are not good, we can just, as long as we're pretty close with it, and then when we have better clocks like this, we can practice, or when we see a better example. Okay. But that's why we can draw in those little tick marks there for what we're missing. Okay. So we are at, this would be 0, and we've got 5, 10, 15. And then if we look, I think that it's 1 past the 15. Do you agree with me? So this would be 15, and then one more would be 16. So it would be 7, 16, right? And then 7, 16 on our number line, we have 0, 5, 10, 15, and then 1 after that would be 7, 16, right? And then we can draw the line to connect it. So that part's pretty easy. The next one is nice and easy. Here's a digital clock for us, which is 7:03. Where would that go? What 2 5s would 7:03 go between? Well, it's not 7:05 yet, right? So it would be between the 0 and the 5. So for 7:03, this would be 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put on the third tick mark after the 0. Okay. And then connect. Okay. And for the next one, our hour hand is between what 2 hours? So it looks really close to the 8, but is it on the 8 yet? It's not to the 8 yet, right? So it is between the 7 and the 8. It's not to the 8 yet, but it looks so close to the 8 because my minute hand is almost to the next hour, but it is not quite yet. So that's where we can get tricked up, but let's not let them trick us, okay? So it's not there yet. So what would our hour technically be? It would be 7. So we can put 7 colon. And this one looks nice and neat for us. It's right on that 11. So we can count by 5s and then we'll know what time it is, right? So this would be 0. Touch each one with me and count, please. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So the time would be 7:55. And that would be right there. Okay. You want to pause and try this last one on your own. That would be good. And again, it looks like, so between we have the 8 and the 9. And if you want to just put 4 little tick marks there, 1, 2, 3, 4, to make up for the bad copy job there. And then try to pause and solve that one, okay? Okay, so I'm hoping that you solved that one on your own and you're coming back to me. So if we look at this, let's see if we got the same answer. So the hour hand is between the 7 and the 8. So that would make my hour 7. So I'm going to put 7 in colon to get that set up. And then for the minute hand, I'm going to start back at the beginning and I'm going to count by 5s until I get to the 8. And then I'm going to count by 1s, okay? Will you practice counting that again with me? Here we go. So this will be 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then I think it's 41. Do you agree? So 7:41. Okay, thumbs up if you had that for your answer too. Good. All right, so 41. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and 41 would be 1 point after the 7:40. Is that where you put yours too? Good job. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at number 2. Jessie woke up this morning at 6:48 a.m. Draw hands on the clock below to show what time Jessie woke up. Okay, so 6:48. So my hour hands, I'm going to rewrite that right there just so it's bigger so I can look at it and make it a little easier to see. 6:48. So that means that my hour hand would be what hour? 6. But if it's 48, that means it's really close to the next hour. So I'm not going to draw my hour hand right to the 6. I'm going to draw a little bit closer to the 7, right? Because as it gets close to the next hour, my hour hand looks close to the next hour. Okay, does that make sense? All right, and then for 48 minutes, we're going to count by 5s until we go as far as we can. And so let's just try that. Let's just do it. Ready? So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Can I go on? This would be 50, right? So I'm between 45 and 50. So I can't go here. So I'm at here. So 45. And then let's put those 4 tick marks in between there that aren't very easy to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're just kind of redrawing what was there, but you can't see very well. So 4 tick marks between the 9 and the 10. So then we're at 45, and we're going to count by 1s now until we get to the 48. So 45, 46, 47, 48. So it's right there. So I just kind of darkened a line right there so then I can do that. So there I'm at 6:48. Okay. The next one is another problem just like that. It says Mrs. Barnes starts teaching math at 8:23 a.m., which means morning, right? Same thing, Jessie woke up in the morning. Draw hands on the clock below to show what time Mrs. Barnes starts teaching math. Will you pause it and do this one on your own too and then check back with me after? Okay, so I'm hoping that you filled in your hands on your clock for 8:23 a.m. So if we look at it, so see if you agree with me. The hour is 8:23. So here's 8. Am I going to draw exactly to the 8? not quite. It's going to be a little bit after, right? Since it's not quite 8:30, it won't quite be half between. It'll be a little bit before that. So I'm going to put it right about there. What do you think? Is that right about where yours was? Good. As long as we're not drawing it exactly to it, because it's a little bit past that hour. So there's 8, and I'm going to rewrite it right here again because I just think it's easier to see. So it's 8:23. So I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Can I go to 25 yet? No, so I'm at 20. I'm going to put my 4 tick marks in between there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at 20, and then I'm going to count by ones now. So 20, 21, 22, 23. I'm going to kind of extend that a little bit there. And then I'm going to do that. What do you think? Does yours look like that too? Good. And if not, what can we do? Just fix it, and hopefully that we are understanding our mistake. Okay? Nice job, boys and girls. Flip it over when you're ready. Okay? On number 4, will you read this with me? Okay. The clock shows what time Rebecca finishes her homework. What time does Rebecca finish her homework? So if we look at the shorthand, my minute hand and my hour hand are very close together, but we can see that here's our hour hand right here, and it's between the 5 and the 6. So if it's between the 5 and the 6, what time would it be? It would still be 5, right? So if we're not to the 6, so I can do 5, and then I can put my colon, right? And then for my minute hand, I'm going to go ahead and draw my tick marks in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember, we put 4 because this would be 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that's why we put the 4 in between there, right? Because there's 4 in there that you can't really see very well, so we're just darkening those. So we need to find our minutes now. So let's count till we get to the 5s. So we'll count by 5s. So we get to the 5, and then we'll count by 1s. So here we go. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26. I think it's 27. Do you agree? Okay. So 5:27. Good. So she finishes her homework. Would it be 5:27 a.m. or 5:27 p.m.? If she's doing homework, it would be 5:27 p.m., right? a.m. she would probably still be sleeping unless she's a really early riser. Okay. And for our, we're going to cross number 5 off for today. If you wanted to do number 5 just for extra practice, you're welcome to, but we're not going to do that today. Okay. So super job, boys and girls. Nice work with time. Keep practicing and looking for time around you, and I will see you tomorrow.